Hey guys, it's Kat, and today I thought I would do my sort of 5 to 10 minute summer makeup routine using my Project Pan products. So in here is a lot of my Project Pan makeup, and this is just the sort of makeup I've been doing on a daily basis if I'm wearing a little bit of makeup, if I'm not filming like beauty news. Since we are further away from the camera, you need sort of bolder makeup. So this is just like, I'm going to see friends, I'm going to see family. This is how I use my Project Pan makeup. Now, the main reason I wanted to do this was just to show you sort of like my everyday summer makeup, but also to show you that if you find Project Pan products that can work into a daily routine and you really like the outcome, then you can use that makeup really, really fast. So I'm going to start with my Benefit What's Up highlighter. This is a highlighter that was sitting in my drawer for ages, but then I realized to add a bit of luminosity under my makeup, this works pretty well. I don't do it in my T-zone because I've got sunscreen and moisturizer and stuff on now, so you know, that's why I'm quite shiny, but I do get oily in my T-zone. So I tend to just put this on the outer sort of perimeter of my face like this. And I can assure you that this makeup generally takes me maybe maximum 10 minutes to do, but when you talk things through, takes a bit longer, but that's how quickly I usually try to do it. I've also got the Benefit Porefessional. This is the Pearl Primer, so all I do is I get a little bit of this on my fingers. So I've got that on my hands here, and all I like to do is just sort of put that mainly in my T-zone, but then I use it to mix in this sort of cream highlighter. All right, so the foundation that I've got in my Project Pan is the Marc Jacobs. This is the Remarkable foundation. This is a crazy foundation. It's the most full coverage foundation I've ever used in my life, but it's a weird one because if you've got any dry patches, it clings to dry patches and makes your makeup look patchy. But then if you've got oily skin, it breaks down with oils pretty quickly. So it's one of those finicky ones that sometimes looks really good, is great on camera because it's so full coverage, but to use it up, it's quite hard. So all I tend to do, it's got this sort of stick. You can actually just like put a few dots on and blend it out and have a really thin but sort of decent coverage foundation. But like I said, can emphasize dry patches and it can break down with oil. So all I tend to do is I mainly just put this where I've got some redness. So I do have redness. I do have sort of like scarring from breakout. So I sort of put that in my T-zone for a bit more coverage. And even though it looks like there's quite a lot there, these are really thin layers. It's a very like runny product, so not much product on there. Then with a sponge, my favorite is the Ella Cosmetics one. This is Wet. They've just brought out a new shade, which is like a sort of teal mint color, which looks really cool. But I've just put on there a BB cream by La Roche-Posay. This is a Uvidia XL, so it's SPF 50, and this is in the shade 01. There we go. Looks like this. So this is the sort of thing, oh, it's a lot just clumped on. This is something that normally would be quite thin, like coverage wise, like, you know, okay, I did put a lot on the sponge, but the coverage would be quite thin. But because I'm going to be mixing it where I need the coverage with the Marc Jacobs, it ends up making it more like, it definitely adds the coverage that I sort of want from a foundation. All right, so right now this might look a little bit mask-like, but it's mainly because this is a little bit too light for me. It's a little bit fair, so it makes it look a little bit mask-like. But on its own, this doesn't provide enough coverage that I like on a daily basis, and this provides too much. So combining them both, you get like a high coverage sort of BB cream thing going on. And this is a little bit sort of wet at the moment. I will set it down. I think I did put a little bit too much on my sponge originally. You get kind of thrown off when you're when you're doing your makeup in a different area, you kind of get thrown off. But time to powder, and I'm going to use my Coty Airspun. So once again, this is just something that's in my Project Pan. I just put a little bit in the lid with a kabuki brush. This is an unnamed kabuki brush. It's just a kabuki brush. And I'm just going to tap some there. One thing I did forget to do, but I don't always do this, so I guess it's not that big a deal, is I didn't put concealer on. I find when I have quite a full coverage, or I have a bit of full coverage action happening in my T-zone, I feel like I don't need concealer. So under my eyes, I would normally put a little bit of concealer in there, but I sort of forgot to do it. I'm not going to do it over the powder now. And I don't do it all the time anyway, so it's not that big a deal, but I would be using my Project Pan concealer in there. So even though I'm sort of like pushing that in quite a lot, I'm actually only using a really small amount of powder, so I'm not caking the powder on. I'm just sort of working it well into the skin. With my Quartz Beauty, this is my domed bronzer brush, and my Wet n Wild, this is the contouring palette. Details will be in the description box. I'm just sort of tapping into the dark side and then tapping a couple into the light side. The dark contour shade is too dark for me, and I feel like, you know, I can build up to it, but I feel like mixing them is better, especially when I first put it on, so it doesn't look super, super patchy. I can just sort of deepen or warm up the perimeter of my face without it being too dark. So that's sort of what I do. And I like using a big sort of brush, so you can just put it on really sort of lightly and blend it out. And then I can just sort of build up some of that bronzer a little bit more if I feel like I need to. But I feel like for me, this step is quite key because the foundation I was using, the BB cream, is a little bit light for me. So I feel like I do need to bronze it just to put a bit more color back into my face. Then I've got my NARS. This is the, what's it called? I can't for the life of me remember what this like blush is called. I'll put it in the description box, but it's a nice sort of peachy blush. I sort of remember it having more of a gold shimmer to it when I first got it, but it's clearly more of a satin blush. But if this had more shimmer, I probably wouldn't even bother with highlighter, but I want a bit of highlighter. So I do have that highlighter you can see that I put under my foundation. It is sort of showing through, but because I'm trying to use more of my MAC Soft and Gentle, I'm going to go in with a bit of that. Also, because it's summery, you kind of go, oh, I can glow a bit. It looks nice and healthy. And I really love this highlighter. I loved it back in the day, and now I'm sort of reappreciating how nice it is. I put a little bit on my nose, and if you put that on sort of in a big sweeping manner, but you put a bit of it, it looks like it's like a wet look, sort of healthy thing going on. It's nice. All right, one thing I like to do for my brows, because I'm trying to use up my Benefit Goof Proof brow pencil in the shade 4.5. I'm using this up because I've got a few of them and I just thought, may as well. I don't actually like these pencils too much. Like, I like them, they work well, but I don't use them on a daily basis. They don't really suit my brows too much. I really need to define my brows, and I find that even though you can use the point of these pencils to define them, I wear down the point so quickly, and then I just have this like stubby bit of pencil that fills in areas but doesn't define. So what I've been doing to use this up is I have been sort of just running it through my brows really quickly, but I really need to define the front. So all I do is I put the product in like so. So putting it on. So this looks surprisingly hideous, but then I get an angle brush. So this is by Morphe, and all I do is I sort of move it around and soften it. So I sort of use the pencil as like it's a pomade. Sometimes I'll even put the pencil directly onto the brush if I need to, but I just sort of soften it by running an angle brush through it and sort of making it go where I want it to go a bit more precisely. Because I need to do this on a daily basis, I generally just prefer to use a brow pomade or a powder in my brows, and then I sort of go in and define it with a little, like a thin pencil. But I find that if this works, and I quite like the effect. All right, so I'm just gonna brush that through a bit more just to get off any sort of excess and really bold areas. They're looking bold. And then I also have my 3D brow tones from Benefit. This is in the shade 2. And I just thought I'll put this in my project pan because not only does it help set the brows a little bit, but because this is a lighter shade, it sort of lightens the color, whereas 4.5 does work for me, but it does create quite bold brows. So this is a way just to sort of set them a little bit and to reduce the depth of color a little bit. All right, onto eyes, and I do have an eyeshadow duo that I put in my project pan, but one thing I really have been enjoying, and I was wearing this a lot on holidays and stuff, is my Laura Mercier Caviar Stick in copper. Now I have only this much left, and this is sort of how I like to use it. It's really quick and simple, and I don't have any primer on. That's just from like the foundation creasing. So I just put a bunch on. Put some a little bit on my lower lash line as well. Just going to blend that in a little bit with my finger. And then I'm going back in with the bronzer and a fluffy brush. This is just a little tiny sample brush from Furless, I believe. Tap some of that off, and then I just run that into the crease. So to me, that adds a little bit more definition to the look, and also it sort of sets the crease a little bit. So the cream eyeshadow doesn't crease as much as it would if I had nothing in there. Then, just because of my eye shape, I actually like to line my waterline and my tight line, and I've got my pencil from Prestige. This is a green pencil, and this is what I've been using in my project pan. So I sort of mainly do it. I've got a hair here, that's annoying. I don't usually take it all the way in. I just sort of start where the lashes start, just to really emphasize those lashes. And I'm doing the same thing, just tight lining. Now, I would prefer to use this with quite a bold mascara, like a black mascara that puts a lot of volume, so it really helps define the eyes, but I thought I would show you the one that I've been using in my project pan, which is the L'Oreal Voluminous Original. This is a burgundy mascara, which I think is a bit of a fun mascara, and you do sort of need to wear it with a really simple eye look, otherwise you can't really see the color. It just looks like a less bold sort of lash compared to black. So if you like brown mascara but you want a little bit something a little bit different, I think this one's quite cool. And I do like it, but you know, if I was just doing a simple eye look like this with a simple lip, I'd want the lashes to be a lot more bold, so I'd probably go for a more bold mascara, but I thought I would show you all my project pan products. I feel like I'm one of the only people that use the tip of their brush to do their lower lash line, but lower lash line, but I find that it works well at sort of separating your lashes and not like getting mascara on your face, but you know, maybe that's just me. Key thing to make sure you wipe off the tip though, so you don't get too much mascara before you do that. But that is the burgundy mascara. Then the only thing I have left, I really like this, it's the Soap & Glory Sexy Mother Pucker gloss stick or something, lip gloss stick in the shade Nudist, and I really like this just as a lip balm or a lip gloss. So it adds a bit of color and it adds a nice amount of shine. You can build it up for more shine and more color, or you can blot it down to make it look more like a sort of balm, which I really like. Then I'm using my finishing spray. This is by Pixi and it's the Vitamin Wake Up Mist. I quite like this. So that is just my quick demonstration of how I do sort of my summer everyday quick makeup using my project pan products. The only product I used today that wasn't in my project pan was the BB cream, and the only product that I was going to use but forgot to use that is in my project pan is my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, which I just would have dotted a little bit in there and blended it out, but because I had the high coverage foundation, it wasn't a big deal. So generally when I'm using this foundation, I can mix it like with something like this if I want just a more natural finish. If I want it slightly more high coverage, I'll mix it with a more substantial foundation. If I want it to last longer, I'll mix it with like a longer wearing foundation. So I use this and then I mix it with something that sort of suits my particular day or needs for that day. So that's that. But yeah, that's just my sort of 5 to 10 minute everyday makeup. If you bump into me in the streets and I haven't been filming, this is probably something that I'll be wearing. I like the look. I think it's really summery. I think it's really sort of glowy, but it's sort of set and works well for my oily skin as well. And I think all the products work really well together. So I think the key thing for a project pan, if you're doing a full face project pan, make sure it's something that you enjoy using or you can easily work it into your routine. I don't really enjoy using that brow pencil I was talking about, but I did find a way to make it work. Same as this sort of cream highlighter. They're not my favorite products individually, but I found a way to make it work and I really enjoy the effect of them. So that's sort of my everyday 5 to 10 minute summer project pan makeup. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I've got to get going because this battery is dying, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.